Hey there, it's Jazz. If you're anything like me and you grew up in the United States, you most likely made a lot of financial mistakes. And I, in no shape or form, am I perfect. Honestly, I'm an immigrant. My parents were just here trying to survive and provide us a better life. So along the way, I have learned so many different lessons when it comes to money. And hopefully in this video, I'm going to be able to provide you 7 different lessons that I've learned through my 20s and my teens that have helped me get this property, be able to start investing, be able to get out of debt, because I did take out student loan debt, and I also was in credit card debt because I didn't have anyone teach me anything about money. So hopefully in this video I'm able to bring you some value, and if I do, don't forget to smash the like button and leave a comment down below on some money lessons that you've learned throughout your years. By the way, I am sorry about my voice. I just was sick this past week, so I kind of sound weird, and I do apologize for that. The first money lesson that I learned, and I learned this when I was 21, is nobody is going to remember what you were wearing a year ago. But if I'm completely honest with you, I'm very minimal when it comes to my clothing, because I know that in reality, no one really cares about what you're wearing, but more of how you make them feel and the value you can actually bring to the table. I want you to ask yourself, the next time you're at the store or at the mall or online shopping, are you purchasing this because you need it? Or are you purchasing it because you want to impress someone else and you want to give out this impression that you have money and you're financially set and you want to keep up with trends? Now, if you are someone who expresses yourself through fashion, then completely go ahead and dive into your passion, right? I never want to take that away from you, but I also want you to know that spending $100, $200 on some Nike shoes or shoes that aren't really worth that money just because you want to keep up with trends or you want to look good, just know that no one really is going to remember what you were wearing 1 year ago. So make it more about you and make it more about your style, and know that if you are happy, you don't need to worry about what anyone else says. So if you want to start saving money and you can buy more clothing, just know that it's okay. No one is going to remember what you were wearing 1 year ago. The second money lesson that I've learned is to be frugal on things that you don't really care about and spend that extra money on things that you do. Now, I do want to give an example that I will say that whenever I do grocery shopping, I tend to buy great value things, right? When I go to Walmart, I tend to save my money on rice, for example. I love the great value white rice because it's cheaper than any brand name rice. But I will say that there are things like, for example, Oreos. There's no way I can buy like a great value Oreo. I need and I love the taste of Oreo and like its brand. So if you, for example, love Starbucks, or you enjoy going hiking and you love like a certain type of shoe or anything that you are passionate about and you don't mind spending a little extra money because it's what you enjoy, just know that it's okay, but you're gonna have to sacrifice and be frugal on things that you really don't care about. Like, for example, if you really don't care about music, right? Which is pretty odd if you don't. If you don't really care about music, you don't really need Apple Music or Spotify. You can actually listen to music for free on YouTube and not pay any monthly fees. And then be able to spend that money on coffee or taking your significant other on dates. The third money lesson that I've learned is, will this purchase hurt my future self? Now, the one thing that we tend to do is we pretend, or we put this fantasy in our mind that it's okay to use our credit card because our future self is gonna somehow magically be able to find that extra money, or we'll figure it out later in the future. But in reality, that is how we stay in the paycheck to paycheck system, because we tend to put all this responsibility to some fantasy of our future self, our superhero self in the future. But in reality, we are going to be the same person, just with different experiences and more knowledge, right? So I want you to remember that you want to ask yourself, or I do this personally when I go out to the store and I know that I don't have money for, let's say, a new pair of shoes. I'm not going to swipe my credit card. Instead, I try to figure out how to make that money instead of trying to put my future self in trouble. And that right there is the biggest self-love you can give yourself, is being able to be disciplined in situations when you are tempted or you are in the moment. You have to be able to put a no and say, I do want this item and I am going to buy it, but I have to figure out how to do it now instead of putting my future self in trouble with debt. And you have to remember that the little things you do add up over time, and it does impact you, and sometimes you end up regretting it, and regret is humans' biggest poison. Now, the fourth money lesson that I've learned is to cook at home as much as possible. And I did grow up a little poor. My parents didn't have money to take my siblings and I am the oldest of five, to restaurants because it was very expensive and my parents were living paycheck to paycheck and they were doing their best to bring food to the table. But the one thing I did learn as an immigrant is knowing that you can save so much money by cooking at home. And on top of that, when you do have get-togethers and you end up cooking for someone else, it's so satisfying to know that your cooking skills are really good, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. Cooking is something that you need to do constantly. You need to practice, you need to test, you need to experiment. There are gonna be times when you cook something and it burns and it doesn't taste good. But that's the whole beauty of cooking at home all the time, is that eventually people are going to be asking you for recipes and then you're not going to be able to just eat out all the time, right? You're going to enjoy more cooking with your significant other or your kid or your grandma, right? Because cooking with someone, you tend to bond with them, and on top of that, you're saving money from like having to tip someone or all that good jazz. I will say that the one time that it is a good time to not cook at home is if you are traveling or it's a birthday or something in that area, or you just want to treat yourself. But you need to always remember that if you have any goals, your goal is to save money, live as happy and fulfilled as possible. And the one thing that I've learned is cooking at home can actually benefit you in the long run. And the fifth money lesson that I've learned is your money is as good as your environment. And I will say that I've been in different situations where I had friends who loved to, look good, have new nice shoes, have fancy watches, all that good jazz. And I had friends who were very frugal and loved to invest. And that's when I met my group in college, because we were all trying to invest our money into stocks and we all knew that we were always trying to save money. And it wasn't embarrassing or odd for us to share little tips with each other. It was actually a bonding moment. So I just want to let you know that your money is as good as your environment. If you are dating someone who loves to, wear Louis Vuitton all the time, they don't like to wear any non-brands, and they love to spend their money on things that make them live paycheck to paycheck, you are going to eventually get influenced by them because that's all you know and that's all you see every single day. So of course you're going to be influenced by them, right? Like it's like that saying, let me see your 5 friends and then I'll show you how your future's going to look. I forgot who said that, but it's exactly how that works when it comes to your money and your environment. You have to remember that if you are struggling financially, you gotta ask yourself, who are you around with? How are they spending their money? Because if they are constantly eating out, what are you gonna do? You're gonna constantly eat out. If this person is constantly buying new clothing, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be constantly buying new clothing. So just make sure that whenever you are doing this, to be mindful that sometimes when you are in these situations, it's when you spend the most money, and maybe you shouldn't spend your time with them if they aren't really improving your life and you don't feel like you can reach your goals, right? And it's okay to restart with new friends, because I was someone from high school who had so many friends, and then I graduated college, then I realized, oh my God, we're all different, and then it hurt to basically give each other space because we are used to us being like family. So the fact that you have to give this space is hard. And I will say we're humans, so just know that it's okay, and it's okay to put those boundaries. And the sixth one is don't ever pay full price for clothing. This was a huge money lesson, and I first started from someone who used to shop at Goodwill all the time. I got something better. And I know that you can still find really good things at Goodwill, but sometimes it's hard and sometimes you don't find the things that you're looking for. Look, here's a gold nugget. If you made it until here is a gold nugget for you. Whatever is your favorite store, whether it's Dillard's, it's Macy's, if it's Nike, if it's Dick's Sporting Good, they all have a clearance, whether it's in certain states have them, some others don't. But here in Arizona, there is a Nike clearance, and they basically have their shoes, their workout clothes, backpacks. And then Dillard's, one thing that I love about Dillard's clearance here in Arizona is that this is where I got this shirt, right? This shirt cost around $68, but because it was under clearance, I got it $19.99. On top of that, I was able to use my credit card to get cash back rewards. So it did bring it down to around $17, but it did go back up because of taxes, but The cool thing about this is you can get nice clothing and the clothing that you like by going to Ross, Marshalls, and looking at the brands that you actually enjoy wearing. And you can get this for such a great discount. Don't ever get fooled by like Black Fridays or all that good jazz. You can actually save so much money by going to stores like these, and you can still look good, right? And I never thought that you can get shoes that are $60 for $20, right? So that's the cool thing, and that's one thing I do. I like looking nice. I like looking pretty. It's one of those things that I make myself feel more confident. So if you're like me, go ahead and check out Marshalls, Ross, any clearance stores like Nike, Dick's Sporting Good, even I believe Dillard's too. So just make sure to just look up clearance stores, and you're gonna be set to be able to look good on a budget. The last money lesson that I've learned is that you don't need to impress anyone. If I'm completely honest, and you've been in that situation before where you are always thinking about yourself as the main character, you're always thinking about, oh, how are people seeing me? Do I look fat? Do I look this? Why is this person looking at me weird? But in reality, you don't know what the other person is going through. Maybe they're just looking at you, but they're not really thinking about you. They just have a lot going on. And that's the cool thing about living life, is that we are just a very small speck on this earth. So why not take advantage of it and just live your life unapologetically, right? Just do you. And to be honest, no one is going to remember you in 100, 200 years. If you're the one person who's going to be remembered, it's going to be like Gary Vee, someone who did something extraordinary, right? But in reality, there's so many of us that it's hard to be extraordinary. And if you want to do that, go ahead. But I'm just letting you know, and I'm giving you permission, and for yourself to give yourself permission to do you and not have to impress anyone with your money, with your looks. You should dress for yourself and just find fulfillment in that, because that will actually change the way you see things and the way you purchase things, right? Because most of the time we purchase $120, $160, $130 of things to try to impress others. We buy that fancy car mainly because it makes us feel good. The dopamine feels good because we know that other people are impressed with our BMW or Mercedes or Ferrari. So in reality, all I'm saying is save your money, don't impress anyone but yourself. And if I brought you any value, don't forget to smash the like button, leave a comment down below, and let me know any tips or tricks that you've done in the past so we can all benefit from this. But most importantly, remember, be someone that makes you happy.